Bills, Chiefs, AFC Championship Sunday night. We break it down now here on BetQL Daily. Follow the show on X at BetQL Daily. Sam at SP Shoot. I'm at Joe Ostrowski. The number is 2. The total is now sitting at 48, just a hair up from where we were all week, where it was 47.5. Actually, BetMGM is up to 48.5 at this point. So, yeah, the over money certainly coming in. There are some 1.5s. I guess the market, we can call it split right now between 1.5 and 2. Where does the handicap start for this game with you, Sam?
The quarterbacks. That's where it all has to start. Josh Allen, Patrick Mahomes. That's where you begin and you build from there. You know, Allen is such a game changer, and it's really impressive what he's done with a team coming into the season that on the surface got worse. Lost Diggs, lost Gabe Davis. They've plugged a lot of different guys into those receiver rooms, and they've made it work. But really his ability on 3rd and 3, 3rd and 2 to lead that offense into whatever play they need has been the difference. He's become a lot more vocal at the line. He's made a lot more changes and audibles, and he's been, I think, more aggressive than ever at running the ball in those 3rd and 2s, 3rd and 3s. You know, when you get them 3rd and short, it's almost impossible to take away everything. So if they can stay in 3rd and 3, 3rd and 4, they're going to have every chance to win this game. Now, you're going to have to circumvent Chris Jones and Karlaftis and a lot of those guys on a very good defense for Kansas City. But I feel like if the Bills score, we're going to get over the total. That's sort of a lazy way to go around it, but it does take 2 to tango. If the Bills can be as efficient as they've been all year, and Osborne from Covers, Joe Osborne, who we love, has talked about this all week. Bills are the number 1 team all year to their team total. I got it right here. 15-4 to the over on Bills team total. 23.5. Odds are extremely high. If they get over that number, the game is going over. So if you like Buffalo, you probably like the over. If you like Kansas City, you might like the under. You might like the Chiefs to shut that down. But he's been a game changer. And to me, he's been the most valuable player because he has done so much more with so much less than Lamar Jackson.
I do like the Bills, and I do like the over in this game. So I would certainly agree with that statement. And it's just a matter of, is it going to finally happen in the playoffs? We know they can do it in the regular season. They did it in the regular season this year, winning by 9 over the Chiefs. But is it going to happen in the playoffs? Is now the time for it to happen in the playoffs? And you're going to have to do it on the road, one of the toughest environments to play. The injury report is massive. I'm assuming that all of these players that we're wondering about on the Bills defense are going to be listed as questionable. That's how I'm going in. Taylor Rapp has not practiced. That's the one, their safety. That's the one you worry about the most because he's not been practicing this week. The other names I expect to gut it out in some way. They've been limited. Linebacker Matt Milano, cornerbacks Teron Johnson, Christian Benford, all pretty impactful players. So that's going to be big. There are a lot of different angles. I was surprised Joe's like Kelce under. Like, based on what we've seen from Travis Kelce in his playoff life, I could not go under. And I know it's a lot larger than what we saw last week, making the jump from 51.5 to the upper 60s. Maybe it ends up closing 70.5 yards. But look at the playoffs for Kelce. He's played in 23 playoff games. He has 20 touchdowns. In 23 games, he averages 7.5 receptions. He averages 88 yards per game. Their first matchup in the regular season, he did nothing. He had 2 catches for a total of 8 yards. We were going over in the NFC matchup the things that we don't want to be a part of. We don't want to be a part of fading Saquon. I don't want to take Daniels unders. I don't want to take Kelce under. How about you?
I don't either. It's a true enigma, though, and the books are dealing with this as well. It's very difficult to price a guy like Kelce because you have all the past history and what he's done in these big moments and these big games. But then you have to balance the reality with, all right, they haven't used him as much. He's another year older. His yards after catch are not as great as they've been, but then he rips off a 50-yard grab. You're like, oh, there's Kelsey. So it's very hard to be a bookmaker in this position. I would argue it's even harder. Like, forget lining the game against Houston where you make it 5.5 and 51.5. That's difficult in itself. I think the toughest thing as a bookmaker is to line the next game. How high do you go? It's a balancing act, and it's very difficult because you're going to have people like Gilles who know what they're doing that look at the numbers and the metrics and go, all right, that's too high. But you're going to write all the public money on the over. So you're sitting in the back, you're making these props, and I've been in these rooms in Vegas, like watching these guys throw numbers out, and somebody says, 65.5, and the guy goes way too low. And then somebody says 73.5, somebody goes too high. And then you get there and you round into what appears to be a number that could write good two-way. But is there anything more difficult than taking a guy who in 14 straight games has had at least 70 yards and lining him sub 70? like, that's crazy.
Yeah. I would
here's
just
the
have
last
in the
14.
I don't care what it was last
games.
week. Sure.
I know, but I'm saying it's tough to book that and make that number. Last 14 games for Kelsey, $117, 93, 116, 75, 71, 81, 78, 98, 95, 96, 108, 133, 118, 109. And they're hanging 69.5 in your eyeball? Something ain't right.
Yeah, I would just make it higher if it's my book. Go ahead. You want to take Kelsey under? Take Kelsey under. Go into the 70s. Don't care that it was 50 last week. We said last week that was way too short, and it was. Like early in the game, early in that first half, that goes over the number there. Mahomes as a short favorite or an underdog. We talk about this all the time when it's a situation in a regular season game, and we are getting it in the playoffs here. So it's happened 7 times where he's been a dog or a favorite of 3 or less. In those 7 games, he won them all and he covered them all. 7-0 straight up, 7-0 against the spread. Here's the 8th time. Now, overall, he's 27-9-1 against the spread with that situation. Favorite of a field goal or less, or an underdog. So, like, this checks a box when you would want to back Mahomes, since he is a short favorite here, sitting 1.5-2 right now.
We still want to bet Bills, which is hysterical.
Yes.
Like, what's wrong
100%.
with us wanting to bet Bills? We know what's going to happen. We know the Chiefs are going to win.
Oh, we do? I think the Bills are going to win.
I want the Bills to win. I am so pretzeled on this because I have the Chiefs to win the whole thing, and I want to bet the Bills. Great. Well, I've already teased the Bills up to 8. So I'm personally sitting just fine with where I'm at. Chiefs to win and the Bills at +8. That's a really good place to be. I still kind of want to bet more Bills, though. Like, I really do.
You want to take the 2?
I want to take the money line.
Yeah, you do money line? That's interesting. So many people betting money line this week. That is one of the most popular plays as well.
There have been 5 rookie quarterbacks that have started in an NFC or AFC championship game. And that is not a huge sample size. Understand that. 5 games is not a lot. What's telling about those 5 games, no wins, 1 cover. 0-5 straight up, 1-4 ATS. The only rookie that's covered in a championship game is Sean King with the Tampa Bay Bucks. Again, not something that you want to make your main reason to bet something, but if you're on the side of the Eagles, you read that stat and you go, all right, I feel a little bit better now. And there's just this huge push on the better quarterback. And I go back, man, and I think of all the rookie quarterbacks that I've seen struggle in their rookie seasons. And it's amazing what the Commanders have done. Let's give them credit to get to this point with a rookie. As we said, only 5 have made it to this point with a rookie. You're just waiting, though, for the other shoe to drop. Are you not? You're waiting for the 2 interception game or the sack fumble game. Hey, he's playing against a really good defense, and the offense for Philly is finally rounding into form. Hurts is probably going to play. Brown is probably going to play. The Eagles are relatively healthy at home as a 6-point favorite. And you really want to bet the Commanders to win? Not me. I'm not there.
They're a 6-point favorite, but BetMGM, that is a juice 6. The biggest book in the U.S. went to 6.5. The Superbook in Vegas went to 6.5. When we get official word from the Eagles today, Hurts and A.J. Brown are in. Is this going to go to 6.5 everywhere?
It very well could. I doubt 7 because you don't want to go to 7 as a bookmaker when you've been sitting sub 7 all week. It's kind of, believe it or not, it's kind of like the game last week between the Eagles and the Rams. It sat 5.5, 6 early in the week. It got to 6.5, and then by day of the game, it's 7. And all those Ramley creatures that crawled out of the hole and bet 7 technically covered, right? I mean, the game landed 6, but that thing got to 7. And then the books were upset because anybody who had Eagles money line or Eagles teasers, those people won. If you laid 6, you tied. And if you grabbed 7, you won with the dog. That's not ideal, especially if the favorite wins but doesn't cover. You know, you always want to knock a favorite out. You want the favorite to lose a lot in the postseason because people bet the favorite and they money line parlay the favorite. The books don't want this to go to 7. And there are people I know that I really respect that would love to take 7. I think they would love for it not to get there, the books, but the money does dictate where the number goes. That much is obvious.
Yeah, but, you know, we're also final 3 games of the year. Public is going to have their say here. And if they're all lining up on the Commanders, how does this get to 7? I don't see it. 6.5 might even be a little surprising at this point, but it's interesting. Okay, so couple different angles, and we want to be fair about it. We'll talk about what the Commanders would need to do for a win. I don't have as many prop bets. I don't know about you on this game. We'll get into some of the prop angles a little bit later as well. You mentioned rookies in conference championship games. Another angle. 4th straight road game. 4 road games in 4 weeks. You have to get to the playoffs for this to happen, obviously, because you're not going to get 4 straight road games scheduled during the regular season. But in the last quarter century, this has happened 7 times. What the Commanders are going to face. Those teams are 0-7, 1-5-1 against the spread. So you have the rookie quarterback angle in the conference championship. You have the 4 straight road game angle. You have, I don't even know if this is an angle. It's just worth bringing up. But it continues again. Like, is it just going to keep going past 20 games? I don't know. 4th down efficiency. They dominated in the regular season, hitting at a clip of 87%, which you just can't continue. But then it's continued sort of in the playoffs. In their 2 playoff games, they're 6 for 9, 67%. So we're 81%, including the playoffs, with their 4th downs. But facing a much tougher defense this year. And also, if you want to say that's luck, I don't think so. I mean, you need to have certain talent and great play calling and all that. Matchup goes into play as well. But how he's avoided sacks, too. That's another amazing number. Daniels 27 for 28 in sack avoidance. So it's like you add up all this stuff. Can it really continue? Is it all just going to regress at one time? I don't know. Maybe we're going to have to wait until next year before we see it. But that's not a reason that I would bet on the Commanders, that they're going to continue to be great on 4th down and just getting out of trouble.
I think if you're looking at Washington, though, you pay attention to what they've done specifically in the 4th quarter this year. Here's a stat from Evan Abrams. Washington in the 4th quarter, because you can bet individual quarters. You can bet first quarter spread, 2nd, 3rd, and 4th. The Commanders are an NFL best 13-6 in the 4th quarter this year. That's incredible with a rookie quarterback. That is not your defense. That is not your kicker, your punter. That's your quarterback making plays in the fourth quarter. And maybe they were down a handful of times in the fourth quarter, but he has shown the ability to get them back in games. Who could forget the Hail Mary or the Fail Mary, depending on which way you look at it, with the Bears and the Commanders? But they are 13-6 in the fourth quarter, Washington. So they finished strong, which is very rare with a rookie quarterback. The other part, if you're looking at things to not like with Philly, it's the red zone stuff. They have not been good in the red zone. 13th in the red zone in the regular season, and in the playoffs, Joe, they're 1-6. 6 red zone trips. They come away with a touchdown one time. That's a problem. And when your quarterback is banged up and A.J. Brown, your number one receiver, isn't performing to his ability, if you don't score touchdowns, anybody can hang around. My concern is, though, the Eagles, my concern with that is that the Eagles will be fine. Like, I guess I'm not concerned. I think they're going to be just fine. In fact, we were talking about this yesterday with Bear on Bear Bets, and he's like, my favorite bet in the game is Eagles team total over. And I thought, good. I hope that hits.